Hello and welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us throughout this caster change. Sir Waltham still here. Dryad now just joining us. Dryad, hello, welcome. It's been a week about-ish, right? Or no, it's
Right.
been 2 weeks. You weren't here last week.
Yeah. But
How
now
could I
I'm
forget?
back, so it should be good. And I know it seems like it was a long day already, but we got 3 more matches to go, at least for Overwatch. And for our next one, and the first one for me is going to be DePaul University against St. John's University. Both of the teams that we already know.
Yeah, of course, some familiar names coming in here. Scoreline's going to be looking not too sharp for either of these teams, both sitting towards the bottom half. 2-1 for St. John's, 0-3 for DePaul. So, as has been kind of the theme here for these 0-3 teams, they're going to be looking to cause a little bit of a shakeup, see if they're successful in overturning their record.
Absolutely, and we have to see how that's going to turn into, and if they're able to get to the upper table as the weeks pass between these two. We already just saw the maps, and a lot of the expectations, again, they are both at the bottom, so that means that sure, they've had difficulties throughout the season, but they still have the opportunity to get some training done and see what they're able to do, figure out what composition is going to work out best. And also, I mean, take it into account the collegiate Overwatch, it can go back and forth when it comes to the consistency between the players, the consistency between the meta, and well, now they've had quite enough weeks to get that over with, to get some practice, and we're going to Busan. First map to start it off is going to be mecha based. No surprises here. Composition, the Rhine Diva that we're used to seeing.
Ryan Diva, Fiscal going to be coming out with the sim just to get everybody moved up. But then it's going to be Cassidy coming out for both sides. Hanzo versus May in the DPS shakeup. And then both Ryan's Jolt and Joe as well as Zafe just going to both be swinging for each other. Zafe taking a lot of damage though, has to back off. Gets a couple more swings and able to build up a little bit more of that Earth Shatter charge that might come into effect here. A moment later, St. John's already on the back foot, having to give up a little bit more space. And with that, the May wall comes up, allowing the rotation for DePaul to get onto point. At least that would have been the plan if News didn't get taken down by an arrow to the gut by Rich. Now with DePaul getting first point cap, they can all look into letting into this fight. The Earth Shadow coming out, as I mentioned. Amplification Matrix as well. DePaul looking to continue this fight with a nice victory on top.
They're able to clean up the fight, especially, I mean, the key part here is that they're able to get it after they started getting the point percentage, because it is only going to be beneficial for them passing potentially that 50% if they're able to win that next fight, which they have obviously all the potential to do so. Tangerine is about to get that self-destruct, bringing it all the way into the back line so that the Reinhardt cannot block it would be the opening that they're waiting for.
Rich has those dragons, going to be setting them out immediately. Tangerine not close enough to eat them up, man. They're going to be able to carve a path, divide DePaul a little bit, and Joe's going to take that opportunity to try to close the gap, goes in for the Earth Shatter, manages to get 4 onto the ground. Samurai going to be the only one not, but in Ice Block eventually will be cracked open like a walnut.
Everyone getting taken down, in St. John's University take control of the point around 50%, like I mentioned that DePaul University was able to get. But the question is, can St. John's University continue to hold if they know there's a blizzard coming through, if they know that Deadeye is also going to be available, and we see everyone hiding Fiscal, at least trying to create some space with a Deadeye, going to be effective, but just for a little bit.
Buying just a few seconds of time means they buy a few percentage points. Liam able to take down Samurai, and that means that May not going to have the Blizzard. Looks like St. John's might be on the chase here, knowing that May can't section off anybody who gets a little bit too heady. But no, not going to be able to close in time before that May comes out from the respawn. Zafe just making a risky decision to go for the Fire Strike there. Instead, just gets immediately torn asunder. And now with this, I've never seen a fight take place here, Dryad.
It's so uncommon to see, but St. John's University actually managing to stay on top even after that would have been a perfect opportunity for a boop as well, but nonetheless, the Lurpy was able to get away with a couple kills, just shooting. And DePaul, the thing here is that they weren't even able to use any ultimate, so everything that we talked about is still going to be available for this team. The Blizzard to initiate it would be good, again, just to create that space along with the Deadeye that we saw earlier on from Festival, but this time around, for News.
With that amplification matrix, though, it's going to be a little bit tough, especially with the Earth Shatter layered on top. Jolt and Joe able to just swing ahead, get stunned out, but a nice defense matrix coming in from ITG to prevent all that damage.
The Shatter connecting perfectly for the setup St. John's University for Jolt and Joe, able to change the narrative that we expected, putting a lot of pressure into DePaul University. You talked about it. The thing about it for this team is they've been having so many ultimates, holding into those ultimates, but never able to use them, and it continues to affect them fight after fight until now.
And St. John's losing a few members early on, both the support, as a matter of fact. They have to play very carefully here and try to reduce the damage that they take rather than just rely on it getting healed up. Although the tank's coming in with 3 kills off the back end. DePaul now going to be on shaky ground. ITG eventually getting knocked off by Tangerine, but it's going to be DePaul continuing to tick up.
72%. This could be last by territory, depending on how long St. John's University is able to get away with. DePaul, in the meantime, taking advantage. They still have one of the support ultimates is going to be that sound barrier, just to keep the team alive. Even if they want to use it aggressively against Larpy, they have the opportunity to do so.
Fiscal has that high noon, tries to get the May, but it looks like Samarkai was able to use that ice block just to get themselves a moment, or perhaps bait out that Deadeye, as I was calling. Jolt and Joe now going to be swinging with the renewed vigor of this sound barrier. Going to be swinging heavy, has the Earth Shatter, goes for it, gets the Cassidy, gets the Lucio, tries to reverse pin, does so successfully on the Zafe. And with this, DePaul looks like they've run through all the members, but it's just going to be the tanks available for the side of St. John's. That Baptiste not able to stay alive long enough. No reinforcements available for DePaul, and St. John's takes Mecha Base.
No reinforcements, and with that, it was so close yet so far at the same time. But at least St. John's University able to get away with that first victory. Another submap though that we have to see here in Busan just to guarantee if they're able to stay on top, because honestly it just continued to go back and forth. But I think St. John's University, they had a better understanding on what to do. They were using those ultimates first, denying any possibility for the side of DePaul. And if they continue to do this, especially as we see more of a dive style coming through, they have everything to win this entire map.
We look ahead, and now we're going to be seeing the dive composition. Classic dive coming out from DePaul. The Moira, perhaps a little less than classical based on how far you look back, but either way, DePaul going to be looking to get right into the fray, trying to find that initial burst damage, and Zafe just diving right on in, getting some big cleave damage. Although being taken towards this outside area, has to be very careful. That big boop threat can come through in a massive way. Joel and Joe able to get the first kill onto Obscure means that speed boost not going to be there for DePaul. They're going to be hamstrung a little bit, making it hard for these rotations to come through despite still having a speedy comp. Noob barely having enough rewind in time to get back onto the ledge, not getting thrown off just yet. Now, DePaul still not allowing for that point to initially go under cap, will eventually go the way of St. John's, and now DePaul has to just try to pull back and regroup.
And this is essentially the same thing that we saw on that last map on Mecha Base. It was St. John's University taking the fight, but getting the kills, especially towards the end, benefiting that percentage to go their way, and also preparing for this next fight where they have the coalescence to start off. And DePaul University, in the meantime, they trying to scout for the Sombra, able to get away at least for a little bit, it seems like, but the attack is going to connect. This Chief is going really low, actually getting taken down.
And Mischievous had that coalescence online. You think that maybe they were anticipating having to use it this fight. Instead, it's going to be Liam Lizard who throws in the coalescence, and now St. John's just trying to feast on whoever remains. It's going to be Primal Winston versus Primal Winston. At least that would have been the plan. Zafe didn't wear off at that exact moment, getting chased down, eaten alive by St. John's. Only a few members remain.
This is really just St. John's University playing better, able to connect the hack against the Sombra of Mischievous, which shouldn't even be happening. No one should be really peeling that much for DePaul University supports, as they have the opportunity to fade away. They have the opportunity to run and even go through the walls as Lucia, just be able to fade if they needed to as the Moira. But this kill is essential. Couldn't use the coalescence to start it off, and it's going to be 70% for St. John's along with an EMP.
It's going to be the EMP that goes out, but Tangerine able to get re-mech'd. Not going to matter though, St. John's already leaning in. It's going to be that orb coming in from Moira. Liam Lizard able to get 2 kills with it, and just like that, DePaul knows they've lost that fight.
St. John's University, they definitely looked way more comfortable on this composition, on this dive, full dive, running effectively. Only an EMP was enough to win the fight. This is last fight territory for this team. A lot of ultimates going to be the Blade trying to get a couple kills just to start it off. The St. John's University also preparing for this. The pulse bomb is not going to connect though.
Samurai just barely jumping over that pulse bomb, able to avoid it, not able to avoid the big bomb coming in from ITG. The remake as well, taking down the Noob ultimates, are getting all the kills for St. John's. ITG barely able to cling to life within that mech, but barely still counts over time. Now going to be starting to tick down. DePaul barely able to get 10%. Nobody's going to be able to touch, and St. John's takes a dominant Busan.
A first map that was looking close, but a second one not so much here in Busan as we go 1-0. St. John's University taking the lead. And it was just a very unfortunate scenarios that we saw for DePaul University. I almost want to blame it on the communication leak and pending with this team. Like I mentioned before, your Moira getting hacked and taken down shouldn't ever be happening on this dive composition. Yet we saw it happening. We saw Mischievous getting hacked, taken down, when it was all up to this Moira to initiate next fight with the Coalition. So not many opportunities that you can do in that scenario if you're DePaul, but hoping that you have a chance on the next map.
And we will be giving them another shot here. We'll give them 3 shots, as a matter of fact. That was their first, and now we're going to be looking towards Eichenwald as our next map. The question is, how does DePaul pivot? How do they adjust to St. John's absolute aggression and overplaying to their level that we've currently been seeing? That remains to be seen.
It was going back and forth at the beginning with the brawl style composition with the Reinhardt and the Diva. So for DePaul University, this seems, at least so far, to be the better composition for them. Absolutely, definitely made some mistakes at the same time, but they proved to have the better chance with it. So especially when we go into Eichenwald, there is a possibility again to see the Ryan Diva continue to be effective. You're gonna have a Diva being able to peel a little bit for your DPS, and the Reinhardt just being able to hammer and take down a couple members with the damage. Of course, trying to get that ultimate as soon as possible as well. So I think for this DePaul, I would love to see more of this composition. And for St. John's, they definitely proved themselves to be the better team, but I wouldn't even deny a possibility of seeing something like a double bubble in this map.
We'll see exactly what these teams have scratched up. Just in case it hasn't been made confusing enough for those of you at home, we're also going to be seeing the sides swap for both of these teams. So we'll be seeing a change up from the colors we saw previously on Busan. It's going to take us just a moment to get into game, but Dryad, don't fret, we are almost there. As now we do look ahead, we've been so far seeing a lot of that Reinhardt play coming through from Eichenwald, and I do personally, from an entertainment value, hope that we see the double bubble come out, that Winston Zarya. But again, I don't know if teams are necessarily willing to run that as we move ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if they're willing to, but maybe it's a possibility. Even into the second part of the map, I feel like it can run very effectively. We have to see, at least we have a hint of the defensive composition, which for DePaul University is actually going to be the dive. And look, I don't hate this, but I didn't get the best vibe out of this team when we saw them running the dive. Of course, it was with a Winston instead of the Wrecking Ball. But it's going to be a lot of pressure falling into this Wrecking Ball now. It's going to be being distracting, being on the backline every single time for the side of the enemy team, and trying to build that ultimate as soon as possible just to throw it into point and deny a lot of space. So as long as Sapphire is able to do that, there is a chance for DePaul here this composition. If not, I feel like they might have to change. And also, hey, look, we talked about the double bubble, and they will be bringing it.
Apparently it was just you that was the change that was needed here, Dryad, because now these St. John's are willing to run the double bubble. We'll see what kind of benefit it can find them. Zeph going to be trying to find an early pile drive, perhaps trying to build up those minefields more beneficially, but with this Echo taking to the sky, Rich trying to deal a lot of damage, particularly to that Mercy. Not quite able to find the kills that are required, but still a little bit of pressure can sometimes be what is adequately needed, even if the kills don't follow. This Pharah already looking so disconnected from her Mercy, and Noob now flying solo as Mischievous gets taken down. Samurai Kai no longer in this fight as well, so no Mercy, you're the only DPS. A lot to ask from Noob, who immediately gets pulled out of the sky by Rich. St. John's looking to make this a speed run for that first cap.
In the double bubble turning out to be effective, taking a little bit too long to build his ultimates, but nonetheless, everyone was able to put in the damage. They're going to have the nano for the next fight for the second part of the map, which is going to matter so much to take that high ground control along with the Winston. This is why I like to see this composition, and this is why I was also hesitant to see DePaul bring on the Wrecking Ball. They needed to be in the backline, but they lost control immediately.
It's going to be hard to maintain that control as we see the Wrecking Ball moving ahead. We see DePaul switch onto that Soldier 76, so maybe that high ground can be had with that potential tack visor if they're able to build up those ultimates. But for now, Fiscal still playing around the inside of this castle. So close to a pulse bomb that Winston goes in with the nano with a nice collapse from the rest of St. John's. That Pharah coming online has the rocket barrage, just trying to rain onto the Mercy, not quite able to connect. Does eventually land the focusing beam onto the Pharah quickly to make Mischievous meet their maker as well. Now the Diva might be late staggered.
Yeah, a couple final kills happening for this team, but the payload has not stopped. Actually, 10-player kill streak that we see for this Echo. There is when we see the aggression coming through and the peeling as well for this Mercy being able to support each other in the air, changing the narrative a little bit. We see the soldiers as well for DePaul University trying to get one kill. The battalion is going to get pulled out. They're committed to this fight, but the kills are not really happening yet.
Are not. It's not looking any better when that grab from ITG goes out. DePaul getting sort of locked down. Noob able to take one down with Liam Lizard. Tangerine able to come in as well, take down that Winston, provide a bit of relief. The defenders are going to have that quicker respawn advantage, but they still need to make something happen with it. The kills not coming through as quickly as they need, especially with the Zarya contesting for as long as she has.
And Zarya is getting so much support for the set of this Anna, holding for a little bit longer, contesting the point, not letting it die, and there it is. The Anna also able to get another kill. This is the comeback that St. John's University was waiting for on this fight. He lost a lot of members, but the payload, it never went back, just continued moving forward. It stopped for a little bit, but St. John's University was able to take control from beginning to end. It was a beautiful anti-nade as well that we saw for this hitting the soldier for DePaul University, forcing him to play a little bit more passive. And by the time that the soldier was ready to play aggressive again, it was the same case for St. John's University, was able to win that fight and that point.
Now, as a heads up for those of you keeping count at home, ITG almost up to another grab. Gonna be looking to get some big damage with that. Jolt and Joe getting the nano boost, but takes an anti-nade, means they have to back off for just a moment, allow themselves a reposition, and now St. John's ready to take this next fight as the cart makes its final turn. Grab goes out, pulse bomb as well. Doesn't seem to find too much, but ITG able to just use some of that left click prowess burn down Zafe. Now, as we can see, one member up for St. John's. They continue to lean in here. It's going to be Rich going out on the cast. He gets pulled out almost as quickly. Now with the Reaper coming out, Samurai Kai looking to get up close and personal, and they're going to have to otherwise face a brutal death, and it looks like they choose death. Fiscal going to be traded out for that option. The Mercy able to get a big res. Slurpee not quite able to get taken down by Noob on that casty. It's going to be the Electric Cowboy trying to come in, but Noob can't reach much. It's all going to be St. John's coming through here, getting that third point capture.
Even touching the spawn, but St. John's University 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining on a really convincing first round here on Eichenwald, and trying to keep that momentum going into the second round. DePaul University, honestly, they did look lost in that composition. Nothing really seemed to be right, even when they had the numbers advantage into second point. They could have taken the high ground positioning, but we never really saw the control that we wanted to from them, and really affecting what could happen even with the mental game of these players.
And this is where we start to see, if teams pay attention to what the mistakes that other teams are making, they can learn a whole lot. DePaul really suffering from what we've seen all throughout today, and just not being able to close these fights fast enough, not being able to follow through with the advantages they have. Maybe it's time to go back to the chalkboard and study up in a different fashion, change something up.
Changing, but I'm already hesitant. Even if the setup St. John's on the defense, they play the same, or even if they want to bring something different, the real question is going to be DePaul University. I talked about how the role benefited them more. They're hinting at us that that is what they're going to bring. to the table on the second round, but now it's gonna be not only being good at the brawl, but trying to get and match the time that St. John's was able to get.
As we see the rollout coming through here, DePaul going to be using this May. I struggle to see how this May is going to be achieving some great utility unless they use that May wall to perhaps block some lines of sight. But even then, with Rich playing this Echo, they'll just be able to fly right over it. DePaul looks kind of non-committed to this. Their Reinhardt hanging just a little bit back. Samurai Kai taking a boatload of damage, and with that jolt, just going to be diving in immediately, finding the kill onto them. And that's going to cause the rest of this ship to start sinking. St. John's now able to lean in a little bit more.
A little bit more, but the kills continue to happen. Fiscal actually getting taken on shouldn't be affecting the side of St. John's, as the rest is going to come through right away. DePaul University one by one getting taken down. Not even the number advantage so far was going to be beneficial for them. So they're really hoping to get those ultimates as soon as possible. But there's so much damage with this double bubble composition that is being blocked, making it a lot harder for them to put the damage in. One
Oh, wow.
grenade hits almost everyone.
Yeah, it hits 5 members from DePaul who are all
Wow.
struggling there. After that, both the supports are taken down. Rich getting the duplicate onto the Lucio. Not sure if that was the intentional grab there, but either way, it's going to be what they have. Jolt and Joe just now taking a tour of Eichenwald.
Liam not only able to get the nano really, really quickly for the setup St. John's University, but hitting those nades that look almost impossible to do, getting most of the team of DePaul University, forcing everyone to play more passive, denying any possibility here. Now, DePaul University, they have an amplification, they had a blizzard to use, but everyone gets taken down before.
We see the kills coming through, but the res allowed to be had for St. John's. DePaul just does not have the manpower to push it and threaten that space still. Just St. John's just cleaning up these fights faster than I can even talk about them, Dryad.
It's been like 3 or 4 fights that we see now, and DePaul University have not been able to build the ultimates. They have two, like you said before. They couldn't use them on that last fight, and they're really just trying to hit a point where everyone is going to have those ultimates, trying to use them at once, and hoping for the best here. There's another try yet again.
As we look ahead, DePaul might have a couple ultimates to lean on here, but it's not going to be anything that you can absolutely expect, especially with Zafe taking so much damage early on. You can't let that happen. Primal going to be getting frozen up, but not going to matter. The only person who could respond was Noob, who was stuck in an ice cube. Not going to be too big of an issue for St. John's. The cleanup's still there.
Continues to happen, and even the blizzard was going to get denied, or at least denied of the possibilities to get the kills for DePaul University. About a minute remaining, and this attacking team, they haven't found their footing yet. They're hoping that this is going to be the chance, but ITG waiting for the opportunity to use the grab. Everyone's so close, no one looking at the Saria. This is a nightmare for this out of DePaul University.
It's going to be the Cassidy pick coming out. Rich able to throw in the high noon, just trying to get a quick reload, using that float ability, trying to get away, able to do so successfully. And that's something that should really be punished if you're on the side of DePaul. But again, focus fire, the manpower just not there from this team currently.
And it hurts to see this out of DePaul University having ultimates, having number advantage, having the possibilities, yet not being able to connect with the openings that they're waiting for and expecting to get through those fights. Another anti-nade connecting, and this Anna has just been on fire. The kills are going to continue. An opening here, though, is going to be the self-destruct getting ITG, but shouldn't be affecting this team too much.
Doesn't look like it certainly will be affecting things as of yet. Samurai Kai, the only one on point, not going to be able to withstand for long. Rich on that Echo, just so overwhelming. At least one tick for DePaul, but that is going to be it. St. John's going to be coming out victorious on Eichenwald.
St. John's now taking us to match point, and even though we had a long day, well, at least you had a long day, it seems like this could be the potential for a quick match, and it's just St. John's is just looking so good. I love that they brought the double bubble composition. We were hesitant because we don't see it very often, especially in that collegiate level, and especially in the meta of Overwatch right now. Everyone favors the Ryan Diva a little bit more. But nonetheless, being able to stay on top of this composition from beginning to end, taking the initiation and really just being the better team.
Yeah, if nothing else, St. John's going to be seeing this as a great opportunity to practice that double bubble and practice it with some spectacular results. DePaul just not seem to be able to contain that boiling pot of water that's just spilling over onto their stove. But currently, we're going to give them a little bit of time to perhaps cool their jets, get things back under control. We're going to be taking a short break, folks, so make sure you stick around. Hello, folks, and we are back. A return to potential normalcy here as we see St. John's up 2-0 against their opponents in DePaul. And Dryad, right now we're seeing a little bit of a very rapid pace going between these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening really fast with that potential 3-0, but hoping that the side of DePaul is able to bring something that we haven't seen before yet. For this next map is going to be your third map, and we've seen that control. We also saw a little bit of that hybrid, and now it is time for our assault map, and it is going to be Hanamura. Nothing else that we could expect here. A map that is also very difficult. So it presents another challenge for the side of DePaul University and what they're able to do. But they're bringing something new. They're bringing something that we haven't seen before, and it has to be that double shield being brought to the table. And I like it. Out of everything that we've seen from them so far, I think this is going to be the most effective. The real challenge is knowing when you have to back up to point and when you have to play aggressive. But let's see if they are able to figure it out right away.
As we see St. John start to roll out, they have that teleporter up and potentially ready from Rich. Yep, they're going to be looking to get it set up. Not directly onto the point, but onto the balcony, looking to take down that support as they lose one of their own. And they're not quite able to achieve that just yet. DePaul able to take down the second support, meaning St. John's now going to be weak for that healing once again. And as Reinhardt getting sectioned off means he's going to be slim pickings at some point or another, sooner rather than later.
Looking at Rich, seeing if he's going to change that hero into something else. So that's Metra. Can be very hit or miss. Sometimes it's going to work out. Sometimes it's not going to work out at all. Especially once have DePaul University on the defense is already going to be expecting that TP to come through. So St. John's University, they have to play this a little bit more careful. But the TP, they haven't given up yet.
A nice dynamite coming in from Noob, landing a lot of damage onto every member of St. John's. And now with Bob going out, he's going to be knocked immediately off the map. Some perhaps missed placement coming in from Noob. And now point progress has to be very careful as St. John's doesn't want to give, or excuse me, DePaul doesn't want to give up any more ticks than is absolutely necessary. We see this amplification matrix coming in from Liam just to keep everybody alive, as well as add a little bit more oomph to the bullets of St. John's, who are now going to be looking towards that first cap.
They will be getting it, and I love seeing Rich and the way that he's initiating those fights with the TP. One is into the high ground, the other one was all the way to the left. But they're not the standard TPs that we're used to seeing. It was something else, something new, that to the point that even if DePaul University was expecting the TP to come through, they didn't know where it was going to come through. And St. John's University, they're ready to go in again.
It's going to be the high noon with the proton barrier all matched up. Tangerine taken down. Bob does go on to point, but he won't last too long against this influx of damage. Samurai Kai going to be thrown into the wolves here, and with the turret set up, that means anybody from DePaul who rotates onto point is going to surely be taking some damage either from the tank or from those turrets. So the Zenyatta just trying to hold up on point right now, trying to land whatever shots they can, but they're not finding much with it. Transcendence goes out. Obscure just trying to hold on for as long as possible. Self-destruct takes down one. Obscure quick to be cleaned up as that Transcendence ends. Now with this, it looks like DePaul is all but dead and buried.
One by one, they get taken down in St. John's University. 4:26, a lot of time remaining, and it is because they won that fight that we saw on that first point. They wanted to hit on that second try with the TP that allowed them to get the speed that they needed, get the kills that they needed right on point, force everyone forward side of DePaul University outside of the point, and finally getting taken down. And also, once again, the element of surprise that St. John's University is able to bring is really what's giving them that momentum to keep it going, that snowball potential that we were able to see. DePaul University in a tough situation now, really, to make any sort of situation happen, and at least have the confidence to have some time remaining.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for DePaul to, at this point, even finish the map, let alone match the time bank of St. John's. They're going to have an opportunity here, but now we're going to see St. John's come in with that Wrecking Ball and Diva. What are your thoughts on that, Dryad?
I would be generally hesitant to see it because there's no protection, because there's no shield, there's no really main tank. I mean, Wrecking Ball is just kind of here and there. But St. John's University, I think for them, that is going to allow them to win. It's not even the composition, it's not even the dive style that they want to bring, but it really is the confidence that they have at this point. They want to map extremely fast. They won that first round here in Hanamura really fast as well. You only have half a round potentially to go.
Oh.
And they are definitely not expecting this if you're DePaul University.
You're
No.
Not expecting that immediate explosion if you are Noob. Rich going to be taking advantage, getting that cluster bomb, the focusing beam as well. Just tons of damage. Already forcing out an early immortality field, meaning Samurai Kai is going to be quick to be cleaned up. Zaif looks like they will be next. Pile driver in, stopping everybody in their tracks. That Reinhardt shield has to be broken, then cleaned up. It's going to be the 1 kill, but they're still getting it.
One by one the kills, and that is really all you need on the defense. 1 kill is going to stop the momentum for the side of DePaul University on the attacking side. St. John's University, I love seeing that positioning that they had towards the beginning. Both the Mercy and the Echo hiding on that corner, trying to do the same again, but from a different position, just continuing to control that high ground, continuing to control the air that DePaul University has no access to.
ITG going to be dropping minefields, reading where DePaul's routing is taking them, meaning that a lot of resources are committed to either missing those mines or just straight up destroying them. A nice pile driver, preventing as many people from going through that teleporter in a nice coordinated fashion. Zeph does take down 1. The question remains, can they find it in themselves to take down more? Progress starting to be made here by DePaul. Slowly be ticking up to get that first, third, and now with the duplicate coming out, St. John's going to be making the duplicate Sigma come to the field here, trying to get the kills onto the sim, eventually able to achieve it and hold this point steady.
It was a good start into point, being able to take a little bit more space than we've seen before from the side of DePaul University, but their biggest mistake there was they allowed St. John's University to come through with their rest, to rest Liam on the Senyata, who has been insane so far, being able to connect those Discord orbs and denying the space that DePaul University is trying to get every single time. Once the rest came through, there was nothing else that DePaul University could have done. Everyone got taken down one by one, and now they're hoping for the best. There's 1 minute 40 seconds remaining, about 2 fights for them.
As we can see here, DePaul is just trying to throw in that sim, seeing what works. They're not even coordinating too many teleport dives with this anymore. At least if so, they're taking quite a long time to do it, and they've not really been given the chance. Minefield once again coming out, taking down 2. The rest of the team just easily able to be pushed in upon.
The minefield can be so strong in scenarios like these, and I mean, especially in the hands of ITG, who has been an insane tank so far, being one of the biggest highlights for this match, and always connecting, always reading the enemy. Look at that minefield. Also, with the pile driver, everything else that was used, allowing them to get the last kill. St. John's University continuing to hold to the point where DePaul, they have every single ultimate, but can they use them effectively on this last fight?
The Earth Shatter goes out, doesn't seem to find too much, so that's already 1 down the drain. Noob throwing in Bob as well. Takes down Rich with it, so perhaps another opportunity here. Proton Barrier coming out, but Samurai not able to find anything. ITG coming in just too strong. That grappling hook doesn't care about the Proton Barrier, able to just bowl through it either way. Now DePaul has to try to get themselves back onto point. Liam Lizard able to just grind down that Wrecking Ball. Gets lifted up by the Gravitic Flux, but again, since it's in that Transcendence, going to be healing up all the damage that is done. With this, St. John's able to get 2 kills off the back of Mr. Koala Man before they finally drop Rich. Getting a couple of shots in with Ash. Doesn't have the opportunity to send out the Bob, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that detrimental. St. John's is still going to come out with the victory.
With the victory 3-0, and at least for me, it continues to seem like I am cursed, because every single match that I've seen here in EGF, at least for the season, has been a 3-0. And, well, we got 2 more to go, but it was so much control. I mean, towards the end, St. John's University, they always know how to rotate those ultimates. And DePaul University, to me, they look like University of Hawaii on the first week that we saw them, where there were so many mistakes on the really basics that didn't allow them to build those ultimates in time, to engage in time. So for St. John's, they were simply able to use the ultimates one by one, take the advantage, get 1 kill, and know that they could just go in and win the fight.
Yeah, St. John's definitely had the attitude of a team that has a lot of confidence, and definitely swung big when they knew they had the opportunities to. This will, of course, be taking their record to now 3-1. It will continue to keep DePaul University there in the lower end of things, 0-4. But things aren't quite over for DePaul. There's still a lot of opportunity to go against those lower table teams, maybe come up with a couple map wins, maybe even a matchup win as we look ahead. However, we're going to be getting a shot into the mind of one of the St. John's players after this break. So stick around, folks. We'll be back with an interview. Hello and welcome back, everybody. We are here in the interview booth with the one and only ITG from St. John's University. Very festive today for the holiday season, the Halloween. ITG, hello and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. How you guys doing?
So far, we're doing pretty good. Starting off, at least me and Dryad's casting night with a speed run of this matchup here, and I want to ask about that a little bit. When you were anticipating going up against DePaul, what was the mindset going into that? Were you expecting it to be easy? Were you taking this as just another challenger? Or what was the mindset for you in St. John's?
We take it no matter the team. We always take it like any other team. We just go, we do our thing. We don't do like any trolling. We go in like it's another day in the office. We just like we try for everyone, no matter what skill level.
All
That is
right.
nice. Yeah, that's really nice to hear. Also, you should have let me know that you were going to be dressed up. I should have, bring up a costume as well. But okay. Well, anyways, besides that, so you were playing the wrecking ball towards the end, and the wrecking ball is not the most common defense. I want to say for Hanamura, but you were able to get a bunch of kills, especially with your minefield. Is there any sort of reason why you wanted to bring this composition to the table, knowing that sure you're gonna have the speed to go back to point if the team is able to use that TP, but at the same time you're going to risk not having a shield or not having the protection maybe for someone else in your team that might need it.
So with that comp, we're always looking to engage first and make them super uncomfortable and don't let them like go first. We always wanna. That's why we're always doing early engages before the choke, and we're just
Yeah.
abusing the fact that Rich is a freak of nature on Echo.
Yeah,
So and it just works out great.
yeah, it worked out really well, even from the beginning. The opening that Echo was able to get was, it doesn't happen very often, but for your team, it did. I have one more question for you, and is, well, honestly, the first map, so Mecha Base, when we started, it was looking a lot closer. It was back and forth, but both of you guys were playing the brawl style. Do you think that is why it was so close?
We definitely took a little bit to get warmed up towards the beginning. That kind of happens a lot in our matches. Uh, I think it was mostly that. It's like we're always like slowly getting into the game mindset, and then once we locked in, like we dominated the rest of the maps.
All right. Well, so far, I mean, the scoreline checks out. St. John's coming out 3-0 ITG. A big congratulations in case I haven't mentioned it yet. And once again, thank you for hopping in here and answering a few of our questions. But before we let you go, I do want to give the opportunity for any shout outs, whether it's you, your team, your costume manufacturer, whoever you got.
I have a couple shout outs. I'd like to shout out my team because they're crazy. I love them all. I'd love to shout out everyone that watches these streams. We got a big group, bunch of fans. I love them all to death. And shout out our coach, Oracle. He came in this semester with a lot of experience from contenders and really just helped us learn how to play the game properly, really.
All right. Well, fantastic. Once again, ITG, thank you for coming in here in this interview booth. And hopefully we get to see you back here. Of course, we only see winners here, so I do expect to see you back here at some point.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And with that, Dryad, we are at our conclusion for the St. John's versus DePaul matchup. However, folks, we are not done. We have a couple more matches coming your way after this brief break, so stick around.